Раз. Коллеги, доброе утро. Разрешите, я досрочно, до начала мероприятия, скажем так, может быть, более-менее неформально вас поприветствую, наших высоких и ценных, дорогих для нас федеральных гостей и специалистов.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our meeting. This is an informal welcome so far. We do understand that this audience is the business sheriffs, is our institutes, Republican Institute, the deputies of our heads of administrations, and for our federal guests, I would like to clarify some things, although everybody knows it, everyone here. Today we have a very important political event. The head of Republic, Mr. Khabirov, is making a hearing of his address, and we have to be there, me and my colleagues. That is why I would like to excuse myself here, since I will be there in the very beginning. And I'm really concerned that I'm not going to join you from the very beginning. But I promise that I will join you later, because this event is very interesting to me. These discussions, these cases are going to be very interesting to me. I wish you most fruitful work, and I wish you to start as successfully as possible, and of course to spend this day as efficiently as possible. Good morning, dear colleagues. My name is Azamat. I'm going to be moderating this section. I suggest we sit down and start. So right now my clock is showing 9:29, and in a minute we have to begin. So shall we take our places? What do you say? Oh, we'll have a video. Dear volunteers who are working with microphones, could you please come to me?
Республика Башкортостан. Европа и Азия. Бескрайние степи, реки, озера и древние...
Republic of Bashkortostan, ancient Ural Mountains, a place of power, beauty and harmony.
Мы республика с древней...
We are the Republic of ancient history.
Веками жив...
For ages we have lived together with Russia. We are the first autonomous republic in the Soviet Russia and the first oil region in the Urals and Volga region.
Территория прогресса и инноваций.
Bashkortostan is the territory of progress and innovations, the biggest modern center of oil development and oil chemistry, republic with powerful economy and rich natural resources which we care about. Bashkortostan is the territory of powerful energy, metallurgy, and high-end pharmaceuticals. We take care of the ecology. We raise the best planes into the airs and construct helicopters. We open new production lines. We create workplaces, special economic zones, and best conditions for business. We take care of our cities and villages. We implement transport reform and update the fleet of medical and school equipment, as well as vehicles. The capital of Bashkortostan is Ufa. It hosts large events, sports, business, and cultural ones. Just like the whole republic, we take care about our citizens. Bashkortostan is the most important transport hub between Europe and Asia, and a very hospitable region. We accept our guests and get them acquainted with our history, national traditions and culture. With melodies of Kuray and Kubiz, we treat them with Bashkir honey and kumis, and organize wonderful touristic infrastructure. The most important in Bashkortostan are the people. We are more than 4 million people and 160 nationalities. We respect all religions and respect and value each other and make our region known. We give our hands to those who need it, and we never give up on our people. Bashkortostan is a reliable business and industrial partner. We are moving ahead all the time. We risk and we come out victorious. We learn, we open new and discover new. We take care of history, create and implement the modern things. Bashkortostan is the homeland of strong spirits, and we have great future ahead of us.
Очень красивый ролик подготовили коллеги с башкирского спутникового телевидения.
It was prepared by the Bashkir satellite television video. I can see them interviewing our colleagues already, and it's my great pleasure to see the guests on this event. And here, the SEO and BRICS summits took place. Almost half a planet was sitting here, and it's actually a transformer studio, so you can actually expand it with these moving walls. And right now we are in a part of this hall, and we have a great chance to discuss our common topics. As it was said before, unfortunately our colleagues are leaving, so I'm the chairman of the Chamber of Common People, so of Bashkir Republic, and I had to be there as well. But once again, this event was announced earlier. That is why I have to be here instead of the address of our head of department of our republic. I would like to give floor to the Deputy of Press and Mass Media.
Он где-то был здесь рядом. Спасибо.
Could we have a microphone, please? Good morning, dear colleagues, guests, and our compatriots. Well, once again, our head of the Republic has his address, and I'm supposed to welcome you here, so I didn't have even enough time to think on what I'm going to say. But let me say the main thing. It's my pleasure to see all our Moscow colleagues, whom we have known for quite a while, our esteemed experts, everybody who is present in the audience hall. Really, this is Constellation, which we brought to Ufa, and it's a great chance to see them. Once again, thank you very much for organizing this event. This forum, this Silver Archer, actually costs us a lot, and honestly, we spent so much effort on it. And thank you to everybody who hosts this event, for those who is working here, and of course, our host and Maxim, who was very energetic in creating this event. He never actually shows himself out, but actually. And Alfia Bayburina is also playing a great role in this work. And the soul of this whole project. We have known each other for quite a while. Coordinator, expert, Miss Nadezhda Yevdaluk. She hasn't been just the director of the Silver Archer. But honestly, she is also from here. She was born in Duvan region, and she is very sensitive about her homeland. And she does everything for the territory of ours to become better, smarter, and more serious. They say that Bashkir women is first heard and only then seen, because there is this wonderful decoration of Bashkirs made of coins, tushilderik, as it is called in the Bashkir. So this is also the decoration, and it's a protection and security and everything. And once again, this is a wonderful chance to make a little present to Nadezhda, because these are special stones which actually protect you from being frenzied and from jinx, and you never know when you're gonna need it. And let me continue. Today we are really pressed on time, because you can see the whole project is the concentration of knowledge and experts. That is why I wish everybody most productive work. And it's so wonderful that we have business sheriffs here, because as far as I understand, they're responsible for tourism in their regions, for the guests, for the territories, for the development of small business and entrepreneurship in general. And this is a magic potion which you can actually taste on this platform. Promotion of territories, the smart promotion of territories, which is being discussed by our head of the Republic and our colleague Andrei, and they are always investing into the tourism and the state sector, which is most important. And during the third part, we will hear about very interesting cases. And our Bashkir archer is the brother of the silver archer, which you had a chance to know about just today. And our colleagues from Birsk and other regions are going to speak about their regions and their work. That is why I wish all of you great work, most productive, and Godspeed. Honestly, I didn't know that Nadezhda was our compatriot, actually, because I have been applying for different grants and everything, but I didn't win anyhow. So now I hope that our projects, the projects of our TV channel, might get this award finally. Honestly, I'm really astonished how good you are with your awards. I have been monitoring what you have been doing for quite a while now, and this is really great. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your welcoming words. I hope that you switched off the sounds of your phones. Honestly, if you are from some region, please switch on the melody, the national melody. So, only in this case, we would allow the sound of your phones to be switched on. It's my pleasure to welcome the speakers today. I would like to ask some of you to sit in the audience hall and some of you to be sitting in the presidium. But it's my pleasure to welcome our guests. Ms. Lilia Glazova, member of Russian Association on Contacts with Community and Public, head of the consultants and field of work with memorandum on PR activity, president of Academy Dimension, the director of PR News Agency. She asked me to learn it by heart, but I couldn't do it. Yulia Vitoshkina, Minister of Youth Policy of Perm region. And together with us is Igor Pisarsky, the chairman of the Board of National Awards in the field of development of public relations, academician, member of Russian Academy of Public Relations. An academician, right by our side. Mr. Zalushkin, Service Stal, top thousands of Russian manager, member of associations of directors. Marina Shirina, professor of Russian Economic University, named after Plekhanov, director of scientific and educational programs, National Award, Silver Archer.
У нас огромный список.
We have a huge list, actually. Should I speak about everybody?
Конечно же, я
And of course,
рад.
it's my great pleasure. Honestly, this whole list is huge. Should I read it out loud like that? I think maybe not. Okay, let's move to the second part then. Okay, good, agreed. They will be left for the second part as well. So, I would like to give floor to the executive director of the National Premium and Awards of Silver Awards, Nadezhda Ivdalyuk, a person who has been very energetic and very professional in making this dialogue real today. Nadezhda, I give floor to you. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you all. Thank you very much for coming, for flying here, for riding. I don't know what transport you took. And I would like to express my gratitude to organizers, of course, the mass media of Republic of Bashkortostan, and personally, Alfiya Bayburina, Marat Gazizov, Maxim Ochev. Indeed, the organization of this event was very hard, almost 10 months of work. But we made it. That is the first step. It was announced that this is the communicational forum, the land of discoveries, but honestly, this is only a debut, this is only the beginning, it's only the part of it. And the forum is created as 3 elements: festival of videos and movies, about your homeland, about your territory, where you live at. The discussional part of forum, discussion of problems of geo-branding with experts, with authors of best projects, broadcast of successful practices. Silver Archer is 26-year-old. There is a nomination, development and promotion of territories. Here we can see Gennady Shatalov.
Фонд развития общественных связей региона
Foundation of Development of Public Communications is the partner of this nomination. And there are lots of projects the nomination is leading when we're talking about their staff and their people. That is why we are very experienced, that we are ready to share it. That is the reason that we created this forum. And the third part is an opportunity
людям представить свои
for anyone to present their idea on development of their territories, to defend them in the face of the expert community, and to get financed this way or another. This is the idea, and today is the first step, and I really hope that the Republic of Bashkortostan will be the attraction point and the regular platform for an annual hosting of such forum.
Спасибо большое, Надежда.
Thank you, Nadezhda.
В этой части должен был как раз выйти Марат Асхатович,
And actually, Marat was supposed to come to me, give me a hug, and say, "Oh, you did so well." But okay, we're going to forget about it. We will hug later. I wanted to say that here in the audience hall we have the business sheriffs, which actually gathered from the regions, which came from all the regions of Republic of Bashkortostan. The drivers, let me call them drivers, of our republic, which are doing a lot in order to attract tourism, investors. There are 60 regions of republic presented here, as it says here in my paper. And almost every one of them had to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. We have a large republic. It's the second longest republic and the second on the amount and length of our roads. I think we should give them a round of applause. These people are still coming in. That is why we're quite understanding, because honestly, everything is changing on site. Please, let's hear it to our business sheriffs.
Nadezhda, I think that it is the time for giving the floor to the speaker number one. I would suggest to listen to Lilia Eldarovna Glazova. Yes, I understand very well how to measure the weight and in what kind it would be presented. I know how to measure the height, but how to measure the reputation? And in general, in what ration, what is the reputation? Let's see. I have a clicker. It was presented to me, but I can give it to you. And microphone, please. It's not convenient, pretty. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to open such a new event, and I hope that, suppose that you will hear today new information for you. We are going to talk about brand, GEOBRAND. It's a brand of the territory. When we create some image of our territory, when I ask each of you, what is it, Bashkortostan, you have some associations. And when you have such ones, it is usually caused by something. And yesterday we had some brainstorm, and I asked, what is the first association with Bashkortostan? And I was given the measure of the inner acceptance, and it is the honey, the first, of course. The answer was the honey, yeah. And I compared it with my accept. And this is a case when inner perception is equal to outside perception. This is the result of our aim, what we wanted to achieve. But the goal is the creation of reputation of some territory is not only in one association, it's not only one branch. As already said about touristic attractiveness, but it's not the only feature of reputation of Geo territory. And I'm going to talk about this topic today. Thanks for presentation, Nadezhda. And yes, for sure, the measure of reputation can be compared to blood test. In order to understand how to treat yourself, you have to make some examinations, diagnostics, and after that you will understand what to do. And here, after some diagnostics, you are going to talk.
Много представили, я, мне кажется, даже узнала о себе что-то новое.
I have many presentations today, but the important is that besides
Человека,
I am the person of practice
образование.
that decided to get social education and to get to work, but not to the science. But yesterday, just last year, I understood that I have the lack of science, and I became teaching at the university. And now I can present the pilot project with my students.
К мероприятию.
I had the opportunity to prepare to this event. We chose this project, and it is dedicated to a measure of reputation of territory.
Которые работали.
It is important to say people which were part of it. The definitions of reputations are huge amount.
Мы с вами на неделе бизнеса.
On Business Week,
Презентация бизнеса.
it's not the only case when I'm going to say business. It is an important tool. It means that we can regulate it, and we need to regulate it. The classic model of measure reputation, its international standards, it contains 7 elements. They are called reputational criteria. When I'm talking about reputation, in professional sphere, it is not important to say reputation. It is just simple measure. We have to say what is it reputation, and we have to measure it in an effective way. Let's imagine that it is cube Rubik. And when some colors are mixed, it is the result of your reputation, of your region, of your company, which can be. And every edge of this cube
Критерии.
is for every criteria. When we were determining this project,
100% попадания в цель.
we aimed and we met the target with this cubed Rubik.
Критерии инноваций. Поэтому их стало 7.
And there were some innovations, and now they are the 7 criteria.
Компании мы можем
When we are looking at the reputation of company, we can get 7 criteria of reputational measure.
легкое.
And the easiest way is emotional attractiveness and physical attractiveness. We are going to make up this till the end. We can say something on emotions. It is emotional attractiveness. The physical attractiveness is the first association with the region is nature.
Классические вещи,
Nature of such classic things as.
которых часто забывают.
But the most important features are also forgotten. And they are people, governance, some particular people. It is the political attractiveness. And going forward, for society, it is important to have stable politics government.
Здесь так
And also it is important, financial attractiveness, it is important.
благоприятные условия для
It is beneficial conditions for business doing. It is the case when people should be ready to invest in region. Also, we treat cultural attractiveness
ну и социальная
and also social attractiveness is also forgettable, but it depends and it is connected with social welfare of our people.
рассказывать,
The residents of our region should show and talk about our region as it is good to live here.
То есть вот такие у нас получаются.
So, such 7 criteria are presented. And it is important that we are working with mass audience and business audience. And now we have the examples of 4 countries,
Как это преломляется среди такой деловой.
how it is working in business audience and mass audience. I chose 4 countries: Armenia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan.
Первый такой экспертный
The first section, expert testing, it is a pilot project when we are choosing some experts. And also we have even here in this section some experts. And they were questioned about the reputation of countries.
первый вопрос, который
And usually the first question in such questionnaire is, what is the perfect region in Russia?
какое-то свое впечатление.
You have you each all have your own association. Some people say that South region are the best
Потому что там тепло.
because it is warm there and to live there easier. Some people say that it is their homeland. Some people talk about the region with business perspectives. It depends on our principles. And our experts said that Switzerland is the best country for 2021. And what is important here? Stability, political conjuncture, and the attitude of residents to visitors of the country is important. And yesterday I felt this Bashkir hospitality. Before that, I had never such experience. Nevertheless, I was here. It's interesting moment
Моя оценка недостаточно раскрывает.
with my assessment of this.
Еще нам интересно посмотреть.
What is interesting to see?
Про первую ассоциацию.
The first association are very important. The first reaction when you see the first association are real, are natural. Georgia is a wine, Kazakhstan is a charism, technologies, Uzbekistan is a developing market, cotton. The first association with Uzbekistan. And let's go further. What is the financial attractiveness? And are experts ready to assess financial attractiveness in detail? Yes, there are some countries with high potential of development, and these countries which are not attractive. It is important to show this reputation by people, and this part of reputation is created by people. It's not just words of national character. And the perception of this national character is the part of this creating reputation, of this reputation that we can impact on. The social welfare is also a vital factor, and you can see these countries are also divided in these terms. They have medium and low levels of social welfare. And the political situation is also important. This questionnaire, this research was operated this year. Political situations impacted on the opinions of our experts towards political situation. And it is interesting about culture and tourism attractiveness. Don't know whether you've been there in these countries. If you can see that if Armenia and Uzbekistan are called as historical tourism, but Georgia is not called as historical tourism.
туристическое
This country is just called as tourism country.
восприятие как туристическое.
So it has the perception of place for tourists. They have some experts and huge range of offers to share with. And let's just look at mass questionnaire. And here I can say that we have many options of operating these questionnaires.
Все в телефонах, все в интернете.
Now everyone says that everyone is surfing the net. Yes, online questionnaire is the quickest and simplest. And concerning mass audience, it's important to have people coming to our region. So it is important the experience of visiting countries and their plans, whether they plan to visit or not this country. And of course, the question of returning is also important. Often people choose Georgia, but we also can see that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are also attractive, and people plan to visit there in a further time. And the most pleasant part of this research is the reputational profile. The reputation profile of the country divides these reputational criteria on high valued and medium valued and low valued characteristics. And now we can see how these characteristics are divided. It is important, for example, that charismatic leader, important member of world society, or close ties with world are meaningful for the audience. And the first place is emotional attractiveness. That I like this country, I trust this country. This country has good infrastructure. What is important
Is to take a look at the perfect profile. I've already asked you to imagine this perfect region. And here we're talking about the profile of the region which we study. Further on, you will see four webs, as we call them in our professional area. 4 webs per each country. And we will see that these profiles actually look alike. But actually, there is a particular shift towards historic and touristic attractiveness of the country. This is the first thing which comes to your mind when the region is being promoted. That is why we have beautiful nature, the historic legacy, and of course different sightseeing locations. These are the peaks which we see. Armenia, just take a look at it, and almost same profile of Georgia. But if we take a look at the reputation of Kazakhstan, it's more balanced. You won't see large peaks towards various areas. It is treated as a more developed region, although it's not yet reaching the perfect profile yet. But honestly, perfect pictures are rare. That is why they're perfect. And once again, we can see the lower values for Uzbekistan. It's actually treated a little bit worse, judging by all the main characteristics compared to other countries.
Единственный критерий, по которому
And the only criterion which shows high values is the beautiful nature. So let me wrap up a little bit and let me show you an important slide to compare the 7 criterion which I started with. And we can see in those circles the values of the perfect profile, our expectations of the perfect image of the region. And we can see that the cultural attractiveness is reached by almost all the countries, I mean the perfect criterion. And speaking of the criterion that received max assessment are emotional attractiveness, physical attractiveness, and all of these countries have a lot of work to do in this regard. And I wanted to say the following: it is important when we think about the development of GEOBRAND to treat all the factors in one complex, because all of them consist of different areas and fields, not only something on the surface, which you would like to take care of here and now, but to remember that you have to work in different areas in order to achieve this complex approach and to have this complex image of the region. If we regard such criterion as country for business, country for living, country for vacation. Oh, you can see we have actually this criterion, country for liberals. We thought how actually to combine these criterion together, these criteria. And we can see the criteria which are basic when we're talking about development of region in particular area. If we are saying that our task is to attract citizens to the region, let's say we don't have enough staff, we don't have enough employees in the enterprises, and we need to attract people for living in the region. And most likely we are going to take care of the factors which are in the sector country for living. If we're talking about financial investment, then these are the factors country for business. We have to choose the positioning of our region properly, because we need to promote particular areas. And of course, it is important to take a look at the mass audience, whether they want to visit the country or not, whether they are satisfied after visiting it. And we also can see that Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan are still interesting from the point of view of visiting the country. And honestly, I have been saying that Uzbekistan got lowest assessments, lowest values, but honestly, this is the criterion which was highest, actually. People are visiting Uzbekistan, they want to come back, and they are recommending the country as some place to visit. So, we began with honey. We'll finish with honey. Interest in the products of the country, whether there is some or not. Okay, honey. Are people going to come here and buy honey? Are they going to come back to their countries and then want to buy this honey to come back and buy it again? So that's the question. We're talking about the products which are attractive, which are being consumed, not only the products which are associated with the region. It's attractiveness for consumption, as well as the attractiveness of the countries which are producing these products. We can see the results which we received here, and here we have this explanation, the association with the Georgian wine. I mean, people say, I would like to buy products produced in this country, and usually Georgia is on the first place in this regard. And we wouldn't be communicators if we actually didn't say anything about the channels of communication, how to promote the features of the country. Will the internet defeat everybody, or are there other channels? The most important is that the source of the information when a person is going on to some region, the source is usually social media, websites. Second is actually television, but we need to remember personal contacts, which is in top 3 important sources of information for a person about a particular region. I mean, this is a high value, this is a high indicator, because this is the age of informational revolution. We have been through 2 years of pandemic, and still personal communications are very important, as you can see. That is why I highlight, we need to enjoy this mystery of personal contacts, these chances and this availability of personal communication. Let's enjoy it. And next, we will discuss a very important topic of territorial brand, GEOBRAND, and its development. What a wonderful conclusion. Indeed, personal communication is not going to be replaced by anything. Bravo! As far as I know, we have microphones in the audience hall. We have volunteers who can bring you the microphone. If you have any questions to the speakers, please show me that you have questions. And I'm pretty confident that Lilia will answer all the possible interesting questions. I have a question. What do you need to do in order to create such profile for Bashkortostan? Well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't say we need to first make a diagnosis of the profile of Bashkortostan to understand what it is right now. And then I would say you need to strengthen this and that and that. And then, ahoy!
Вопросов нет, да? Мы можем...
Okay, no questions? We can move to the next speaker.
Задача профессионалов коммуникации
The
формировать
task of professionals of communication is to create useful habits. And based on what cities are becoming fashionable, we can judge the success of such professionals. Speaking of St. Petersburg, Business and Economic Forum, Sochi, Krasnaya Polyana. We go there to have some mountain skiing. There is a fashion here as well, to have some rest, to work. And what is actually fashionable in Perm? Let's listen to the Minister of Tourism and Youth Policy, Yulia Vedoshkina.
Она у нас онлайн.
She is online with us. Please show her on the screen.
Здравствуйте, Юлия Альбертовна.
Good day, Miss Vedoshkina.
Сейчас мы ждем звук, пока нет его.
We still don't hear you.
Юлия Альберт, проверьте свой микрофон.
Miss Vedoshkina, could you please check your microphone? Maybe you haven't switched it on. Or everything is okay, is it?
Юлия Альбертовна, там есть значок, микрофончик. Нажмите его.
There is this icon with a microphone. Please click it. It's going to work.
Наши технари говорят, что вы выключили снова микрофон.
Our technical staff say that you've switched it off. It was on.
Но когда вы включили, но мы вас не слышим.
Yeah, you have switched it on, but we cannot hear you, unfortunately.
Юлия Альбертовна, попробуйте еще раз.
Could you please give it another try?
Жалко, что вы не прилетели в Уфу.
It's so bad that you didn't come in person.
Я был в Перми, изумительно.
I visited Perm. It's so beautiful, Kungur Cave. Something else.
Может быть, пока есть вопросы в зале, пока мы...
Maybe somebody has some questions in the audience hall while we are working with the
Потому что я знаю, что вопросы потом появятся.
equipment. Because I know that people will ask you questions. I'm really confident of that.
Ну что, на правах модератора, давайте пока мы двигаться будем дальше. У нас...
Being a moderator, I would like to move on because we have the unique speaker right now. Why is the speaker unique? Because this person created the first communication agency in Russia. He is the founder of Silver Arch Awards. Thanks to this person, my colleagues can actually compare their works, their results, to compete, to get some places. Well, I actually Googled him right now, Igor Pisarsky, and actually there is this website.
Не компромат, а какой-то, знаете, пиар, потому что...
This website, so this is a PR website which says that Igor Pisarsky will work with budget of Rostech, and he's making 320 publications on Rostech.
Может, мне кажется, специально Игорем это все придумано для того, чтобы люди поняли, какой он крутой. 320 тысяч публикаций о Ростехе, это вот...
320,000 publications about Rostech. Igor Pisarsky, the chairman of the board of the Committee on the Public Communications, Silver Arch, Media Industry, Russian Academy of Advertisement, member of the Russian Academy of Public Affairs. And once again, this is a wonderful person and very interesting. He has architectural education, but he's going to speak about food trends in promotion. Yeah, Rostech. We actually had trucks of publications for Rostech back in the day. Okay, yes, I have the architectural education, which was actually given to me in Soviet times. And although we're talking about PR and communications, I'll be talking about gastronomy.
Во французском языке есть
You know, French has
гурман, это так
different
скорее
difference in two words, gourmand, gourmet. Gourmand is actually somebody who is
профессионально.
treating himself with everything and eating everything, and gourmet is somebody who really knows the value of something good. I'm a gourmet. So, and actually, I decided to come here due to the topic, because PR is boring, but speaking about gastronomy trends, it's much more interesting. So, do we have a clicker? Thank you. The topic is as follows.
По-английски
Last Supper.
и тайная вечеря. Вот.
So you know that this is both the supper as something you eat and something from Bible. So let us begin with the following. I would like to begin with a picture. You see a group of people enjoys their food. I used Yandex. I didn't Google it. I Yandexed it. So people are enjoying their foods. I just Yandexed it like that. And I saw 1,000 pictures. People are eating pizza, pasta, sushi. I was looking for something Russian. Honestly, there are no such pictures on the internet. Well, I had to settle for that. I scrolled through dozens of pages, and I just took this picture to illustrate that the regular consumer of Yandex, the regular user of Yandex, and it says that AI. So this is something which they mean when they talk about enjoying food in Russia as of today. But let us move on.
So I don't want to waste your time on persuading you that touristic attractiveness
Привлекательность.
and investment attractiveness of the territory is assessed by people through food. It is quite understandable for everyone. We understand foreign country through local dishes. The food is enjoyment, and it is national traditions, and it is anything else. For example, today we stayed in a hotel not far from here. On breakfast, I had some piece of baguette. Some 2 weeks ago, we ate just baguette, some French real baguette, which is attribute of French culture. Now we consume the product which is under the safety of UNESCO
Значит,
as an attribute of French culture. It is a patented, protected product. It is the value of France,
существенные
and
дивиденды.
it gets to this country many dividends.
Если говорить о гастрономии,
If we are talking about gastronomy traditions, chefs divide two traditions: Asian, Chinese cuisine, and French cuisine.
территориальных кухонь, там десятки.
And it was a development for many cultural dishes, and it is the main European-oriented or Christian world cuisine. So let's talk about this cuisine. But to start with, the first parcel is I appreciate the gastronomy as a sphere of culture and art. It is a professional art as architecture. From one side, it's art, and from the other side, it's a function. And the same is here with the gastronomy.
То есть нам надо просто есть.
So we just need to eat, to consume some calories for living, for well-being. But when we try to regard gastronomy as an art, Everything is on their places. There are some good and bad, there are some trends in fashion, and some fashion trends, they give this movements to create some investment, tourism.
Что происходило
What happened for the last 30 years
в кухне, так сказать,
in a cuisine, in a European, American cuisine? Now it is before you the meal which is called mousse of dark chocolate, and so it is an element of molecular cuisine. It's just sparked the brain.
ядерщик, преподаватель.
Physician, which was teaching at Oxford, he tried to
Продуктами с точки зрения физики.
and as a result, there are some there's some scientific methods for making some technological decisions in tasting habits, and this scientist went further, and he found out that the dark chocolate
И вот
and caviar, of course, they give just special taste, and it's made it was assessed by many gastronomy critics of all the world.
великий гастроном.
So here we have Ferran Andrea, gastronome in the restaurant Buldoshka, which was also crowded with people. And so in this small town, there was a trend to the modern gastronomy.
Испанских ресторанов.
Some 3 or 5 Spanish restaurants were in this list. So you can see that French cuisine, then Spanish cuisine. It is understandable that these areas are rich with some plantings, and they have gastronomy traditions and etc.
Капризная, изменчивая мода.
And then the trend has changed. Well, the Scandinavian countries. Winter, woods, any lack of agriculture.
Никаких фруктов,
There are no fruits,
много разнообразной.
and even there isn't a big range of fish. Furthermore, the Scandinavian people,
Тоже
one of the chiefs in some restaurant in Copenhagen, he made a research, and there is some paradox fact. He found out that as more sufficient, successful in a world market, the less efficient Dutch cuisine. It has many oils and butters. So some culture and gastronomy culture, everything is killed by itself, and there is opinion in society that the Dutch cuisine is just butter and nothing else. And in 2005, there was some declaration of new northern cuisine, that it is a new cuisine that should be based on some local principles, clarity, and local products. This declaration was signed by people from Iceland to Faroe Islands.
серьезно сколько-нибудь не рассуждал.
There wasn't serious discussion about northern cuisine. everything we knew about northern cuisine is just sandwich
Помощи государства
with stupid broad.
3-4 года
For the last 3 or 4 years, these restaurants of northern cuisine, they entered the first 10th, 20th, the most successful restaurants in the world. It is understandable that the respect to this country is grown, everything is grown. And here in this picture, the restaurant of Marcus Nielsen Chef. This restaurant is a principle of cooking, in cooking using only local food, local products. We prepare food only from this product which grow here. I was in such restaurant in the heart of France. It was so pricey. It was in a village. Some prestige business people. We had to book this table in advance. But the cuisine wasn't too tasty, but it was modern and pricey tradition. The price in this restaurant, he closed this restaurant in 2019. He closed it not because of its little profit margin, just because he wasn't interested in it anymore. He opened some hotel, and this hotel is also booked for the next 2 years. So it is necessary, it is important to visit this Nielsen's restaurant. It's like for Muslim to visit Mecca. You can be regarded as Muslim if you didn't visit Mecca. So the interior of this restaurant. Let's go further. Now 5 years left after this gastronomy cuisine changed its course to Latin America, to Peru. Peru is a city. They have more than 5 kinds of potatoes and corns. They have the ocean bordering. They have Japanese gastronomy with and this mixture of Latino American and Japanese cuisine, and this is the region of Peru Latin cuisine. This is Black Ocean crash. So this meal was leader in the world. And some people can say that it's a Russian subudai. This subudai ranges in 3 kinds. The real subudai can be found in the north of our country. So the meal is the same, but there are more than 30 kinds of it. And no sugudari, as I understand. So why it is just another question. Peruvian cuisine is also a leader in the world. Also, the economy and culture of this country also developed. And the next step was the following. With my colleague Igor Ganja, we made a book, we published a book, The Heroes of Modern Russian Cuisine. Now we have some objective moment. Here we have new Russian cuisine. Thanks to the hospitality of organizers of this conference, we were taken to Ufa local restaurant. We ate some local food. It's not a Soviet cuisine. It's not a traditional, classic, aristocratical cuisine. It's not Christian cuisine. It's just a new, modern cuisine. It's just Russian and Bashkir cuisine. So how to describe it? only the residents and the locals of this phenomenon can describe it. And we questioned 30 chefs, representatives of Russian cuisine, how can they describe it? And the first time it was the precedent when chef performed as cultural traditions conservators. The new Russian cuisine also can have a perspective of having the leading places in the world and to provide gastronomy, fashion, and trends. Trailblazer of gastronomy, of Russian gastronomy, Anatoly Kun, he performed in a congress. He entertained the public, the audience, with grechka and beet. It was pretty interesting. But when chefs of the best Russian restaurant, which has 2 Michelin stars, took the place of the champion in the world champion, and now they have these 2 Michelin stars. If there is no such political consequences, this among
There used to be 3 or 4 or 5 Russian restaurants back in the list, and non-gastronomical congress, international congress, where the Russian chefs are not being presented, etc. So this is the status quo of today's. And this skeptical woman is actually reflecting 3 questions which you might have in your minds. First, where are these world trends, and where is Bashkortostan and Ufa, where we are right now, and where is Russia in correlation to them, as is? Second, what is the higher cuisine? What is the most expensive one? This is wonderful, of course, but what should 2/3 of our population do, who are actually living from salary to salary, to live on pension and to pay for mortgage, etc.? And thirdly, this is not a congress of restaurators and chefs, and why would we actually discuss this and what we do next? So, okay, 5-7 minutes. Do I have some of those more? Okay, let me try to answer those questions. This piece of pie is called the Blos corner with the smoked bream. So this is Plus is a location where Levitan used to be, so 400 kilometers from Moscow, and the entrepreneur who owns this restaurant patented and defended the intellectual property for this imagined as is traditional piece of pie. He just called it the Plus corner, made of smoked bream, and he opened a special location where he is selling this. This is not a traditional meal. He just imagined. He said that it's a traditional one. So there is this digital screen, and they are writing how many of those they've sold. There are already over 350,000 of such Plus corners. So he actually defended this. It's his intellectual property, and anybody who just steals this genius idea is going to be sued by him. And actually, he is very successful. He's showing a priority on the market. But that's not it. Tereberka, the location which you know due to Zvyagintsev's movie Leviathan. So honestly, it's speaking the proper language, it's the hole. So, and this location became very fashionable, although the connotation is negative. People are going there as tourists, and the taste of Arctic located there, the festival, full absence of infrastructure. I'm not talking about the weather and the absence of any comfort, etc. But thousands of people went there, and one more festival. I was a judge there. This is a guy from Perm. So this is the location called Usolye, not far from Perm. This was the cottage of Stroganov where we created this, and you know, beef stroganoff. So this is the
Строганова и его
meal, and the cook of the Count Stroganov invented it, and actually this festival is dedicated to this meal, and people are competing to prepare it even better. And the organizers promise that there will be 50 of such teams next year. We do understand that we lost international tourists, gastronomy tourists from abroad, but we have internal tourism, and added to it the potential tourism from Asia, which is going to develop. We cannot say that we are actually plummeting down, and honestly, nothing too drastic has occurred if we're talking about money.
вот этих
If you were to Spain, you would see endless rows of these locations. Hamon. So you saw there are different types of this meal. And once again, Berezutsky brothers, which you saw a little bit earlier,
что есть
they told me 4 years ago that there is this thing called the dried goose cooked in Bashkortostan. And actually it's even better than this Iberian ham, which is sold in Spain. The goose is much better and much tastier, and once again, some people don't eat ham at all. And what is happening to this ham? This is the best thing which you can see when we're talking about the Bashkir goose. Once again, these are the specialties which have all the possibilities to promote it, to position it properly, to create mythos around those, to build up different pricing policies around them, etc. And the question is, whom to support? Everything I said is basically the bridge which exists between the higher cuisine, between this art piece of Houston Blumenthal, the mousse made of white chocolate and black caviar, 120 pounds for several grams, and once again, plus corner, which is sold by thousands. How do we compare them? If the higher cuisine, higher fashion is creating the trend, then we will definitely have some mass product. Mass consumer product, which is going to be demanded due to these trends. And the question is, whom do we support, whom do we help? In Scandinavian restaurants, we can see the photo gallery of esteemed visitors. But those are not governors, those are not businessmen or not any just fashionable persons or something. They are actually showing people, this is the person who is delivering some potatoes to us, this is the farmer, and this is Martha, she is raising geese. So they are supporting farmers here, and I suggest that we should do the same on the state level here as well, because speaking about any national cuisine depends on the product directly. Whatever we do, we won't compete with Japanese in how they prepare sushi, or we won't compete with Italians at how they create risotto pasta, because they have their national products, and this is the tradition, and this is the basis of everything. If they don't have the national product, the basic of the cuisine, there won't be any national gastronomy. That is why, together with my colleague, a photographer, we created a project, the Delicacies, Cultural and Gastronomy Expeditions in Search for Russian Specialties. That is the name of it. Because our largest in its biodiversity country, which has so many unique products which cannot be found anywhere else, doesn't actually itself know about those products. If we're talking about the well-known users, what delicacies exist in Russia, and we actually conduct such experiments, people are saying caviar, then they think crab, and next the squirrel candy, that is the name of it, and that's it. So Khamsa from Chernomorsk, the Bashkir goose, the Dagestan bam. So I can go on and on and on. We chose 30 delicacies which we believe have to be highlighted separately. They are worth an expedition. And second, what we should support, what we should invest in, although it's business. Food technologies, new technologies, innovational technologies in gastronomy. So these things you can see over here. ICU.
Участие
The company which I am participating in, so we're using Russian patents.
благодаря этим технологиям, зарегистрированным в 2020
So
году,
due to these technologies registered in year 2020, we are not freezing those. So these nuts are actually the frozen dishes. So you just put them in the microwave or in the hot water 5 minutes, and then you get the meal, so asabuka, borscht, or beef stroganoff, so anything. So you wouldn't actually distinguish it from something which was freshly baked for you. And of course, this is the technological breakthrough. It's expensive, it's new. We need to invest into it, invest time, invest money. I'm actually doing this, and actually we are already enjoying the preliminary results. And to conclude, I was talking about Last Supper. Here you can see it. The professional cooks have this game. They call it Last Supper. They are asked a question. If you had the Last Supper in your life, what would you eat or what would you cook? And I read a wonderful published material. 50 best chefs were surveyed. There were wonderful answers. Some of them say that they would cook themselves. Some of them remember what was cooked by their grandmothers, and they would say, oh, my grandmother's pasta, that would be my last supper. Unfortunately, there are no Russian or Bashkir meals there. And that is something we have to do, I think. We need to promote this, because honestly, there are people who would have their last suppers. Let's say they want to eat Bashkir dried goose or some honey from Bashkir. If they would say that, that would be the push which would actually help us develop the gastronomy tourism, national culture, and attraction of investment. Thank you very much.
Очень сложно модерировать.
It was very complicated to moderate people when you see this beautiful presentation.
Говорят, когда кто-то куда-то ездит,
It is.
что видел, а в Италии говорят, что ты ел. У них такое устойчивое тематическое выражение, что ты ел. То есть они мир оценивают
So they assess the world by its taste.
презентацию.
Thank you for this great presentation.
Владельцу алкогольных клубов.
And the question, you're a co-owner of the Moscow alcohol clubs. Should we drink alcohol together with the Russian national cuisine, or should it be treated as is? Well, I don't know. If it is as is, we should actually drink alcohol with it. I mean, if we leave it as it is, then, well, we still drink alcohol as is, so we'll go on drinking alcohol together with the Russian cuisine, and I don't see it as something bad. Actually, we are not usually doing this, and this is a drastic difference of the Russian, we call it snacks or something. I tried to interpret it into Russian, so I didn't find any analogs, because actually these chasers are not somehow distinguished, because we only have this. We take some strong beverages, some liquor, and then we chase it with some piece of food. And the European tradition is actually using absolutely different traditions. We're first eating, and then we're chasing it with the wine. And this is vice versa for Russian drinking traditions. Honestly, we can treat it as drinking like drunkards or any just perversions of alcohol nature, but once again, it could be the specifics of the Russian culture. I would compare it with Russian swear words. Please don't swear. We're being broadcast across the world. No, I'm not going to swear. Once again, Russia has this part of discourse. So once again, it's tabooed, but once again, if it is going to be eliminated from Russian, then it's going to get to
И, на мой взгляд,
poor. Once again, we have to have alcohol with the Russian cuisine. Did you eat Bashkir food and drink alcohol? Of course I did. Thank you. We forbid any questions. Timing.
Возможность выступить Юлии Альбертовне.
And I would like to give floor to Ms. Nevetushkina,
Министру туризма и молодежи.
Minister of Tourism and Youth Policy of Perm region. Dear colleagues, I hope that you can hear me well now. Oh, yes, we can. Everything is fine. Oh, thank you. First of all, let me say the words of gratitude to the participants of the forum. Thank you for inviting me here. After Igor's speech, I wanted to show you the bracelet that I have. And it was... and it says that everything will be brut. So this is quite close to me, gastronomy and everything. And I would like to ask you to switch on my presentation first of all. The organizer said that they will help me to view it on the screen. And while we're switching it on, I would like to say that after the speech by Lilia, I would like to say that information, the source of information, is the human being. And it makes it clear that today you can see the award winner of the premium of the Russian Federation, Mr. Shatalov, and that is why I have to speak about this person, since this is a person which brings something which can be treated across many years to come by people, and he brings it to the people. Because these are the right things, the necessary things. As always, as they say about the speaker has to believe in what they say and how they say it. That is why I want you to have some fun right now. And please take a look at this thing at Perm from different view. So, Perm is fashionable. In the beginning of my speech, I would like to remember Coco Chanel's words, which said, "Fashionable is something which suits you."
Well, in 2000 years, it was some revolution. There was some controversial attitude and relations with residents and the visitors. We can't regard this as maybe it was right or not. But the fact is the fact that Perm began talking about. And today, it is important that district government and business sees the big potential in tourism development as a branch of economics for the first. Pandemic, of course, challenged us in developing tourism in our country. Russian tourism tried to change its intention to inner market, and now the situation has been changing. Now we understand that every region has its historical, cultural legacy. But now, in a region, we don't concur with tourism. We are not rivals. We are the whole. Tourism doesn't know any borders. We have to know some new life hacks. And we have to create history and to relate each other as friends. So Perm region has its hints and unique moments. And this thing is a mixture of authentical and creativity. This method is through the fashion. This can surprise advanced tourists. We have special designs with picture like in the Louis Vuitton. I just said by chance. Of course, to the big-scale events, we are far from it. But the local creative society already performs itself. And the next slide, please. As an example, I want to show you the Perm organization Canva, which creates special designs of costumes, and they organize some fashion events. 9th of December, they had ethno defile. The topic of this performance was ethnography of Permsky district. It is interesting always why and how this costume was constructed, and it's like a whole magic. On 20th of December, it will be a performance of Wonder in a Wonder. We use their music and some theater. Also, I want to mention that our creative society is on the right way, and he is oriented on perm customer. They create something that is interesting for local people, and if it is interesting for them, it will be interesting for others, for visitors. And that's why the Perm Theater creating a new product, and it is assessed by good opinions by visitors. And now we are going to create something new in order to create a new perception of our city. Also, perm designers create some merch, which is also in favorable situation with people. And of course, nevertheless, we should create some special creative spaces where creative people can create. It is a places of giving a new life to historical old buildings. And thanks to this, we are becoming more attractive. For example, Shpagin factory is being operated as a cluster, and the name is dedicated to some river station, and this station gathers many people on the 4 platforms. And the next is Old Bricks переулок, Старокирпичный переулок. It is a beautiful garden with markets, with shops, with restaurants. Now they have very beautiful Christmas tree. It is a place for pleasure and relax. Also, we have a space which called Dom or house. It is like a little bit of conference hall, concert hall. It is a place for reading books, for talking. And also the art space, which is called Circles. It is connected with some creative stories. Very often, it is free for local and for tourists. And of course, the clock factory, it is a space for also concerts, exhibitions, and etc. There is an exhibition of our artists. And the next slide, please. Latest time in Perm, the favorable, the trendy topic is territory and cinema. Also, we develop infrastructure, and we use it in order to attract tourists. And we use it to see where this skin was taking place. Geography teacher, drunk globe. The latest Bogatyr and many other films and movies are being seen there. If we are talking about creative tours, about tour operators, during the latest time, there is a demand on improvisational tours. Now tourists choose some non-standard tours, for example, Quest, Palms, There is a journey among some tastes, aromas, also the expeditions among Perm region is also in demand. And of course, this kind of tourism is intended on developing this creativity of residential life. And of course, a big role is on the creative people. So we have designer clothing of Olga Velichka. She's a model, yeah. She creates costumes for stars of our theaters, opera theaters, and also some international competitions. But it is better to once see than to talk a lot. So also there are representatives of Fashion Week, Moscow Fashion Week. It is a unique story which we can be proud of. The designers sometimes don't know how to sell themselves. They just create their own stories, but they don't involve the society in it. And when they saw that it is interesting for people, it had another motivations. They are ready to speak to tourists, so the place has another energy. For example, designer Igor Garachev, he is also an artist. He is the author of Marriage for Russian Red Cross. He has the topic I Am, and it is about existential topics. And the most interesting in it that this expedition about cosmos, about space, about human being, about space. So it's not just about clothing, it's about spirit. It's about spirit of place. And the next slide, please. And when turning back to the beginning, of course, we have to attract tourists to interested in our region before their visit. So we have to give reasons for why she or he has to come here. Some examples are Diagilevsky Festival, which has the head is, and he made from Russian province a large developed place. And also we have Imperia Gastro Dinner, when the chief cooked some meals which were in Imperia times, with accordance with following Russian wines, with some wild goats, and it is very interesting. But to the scent of Igor, of course, should be beef stroganoff. And here we have some robot industry. I think that this topic is already discussed and well known, even abroad Russia. We have milk, some fish, and we have dark caviar. If you want to go to excursion in winter, even when it is under 40 degrees. And to conclude, I want to mention that the most vital in tourism is promoting region, image of region, and also the image which appeals to residents and tourists also. No matter our, it is important to make a region brand, and this process has already started. The next slide, please. And in the finishing, I want to say that I want to keep you close to Perm. I want to taste it, to smell it, to surprise and to be surprised by it. And here you can see that in Perm, it's not only may but also necessary to be there. Thank you for your bravery and for your bravery to concur, to compete with fashion capital, with Milan. I hope you success. I wish you success. Thank you. Please give the microphone. Yeah, just one microphone. Okay. In order us to hear and listen to. Just because we are from Perm, we are here in this section. We were deciding very long where to go. It is pleasant to hear that our region is is presented in an international forum. We are interpreters from Perm. We came here in order to learn something new. It is very hospitable. We have a very hospitable family. We have some adopted children, and we have some of ours. We have family business. I just want to say, as big family, large family, if you enter the Perm Krai, you can't exit from it. We have beautiful nature. We have many touristic places. We have many possibilities to learn our district. I am very grateful to our region for festivals. We are planning to attend them, and we are going through it every summer. And we come back from them full of creativity and full of ideas to promote our district and to make it attractive not only for adults but also for children. Our Perm district also helps children. It should be paid attention. There are huge possibilities to help children. Thank you for this region. Thank you for attention to this region. Thank you for our meeting. Your mayor, Domkin, was here in Ufa recently. We have friendly relations now. So we had the case of Perm. Yes, it is wonderful.
Yes, we have this wonderful collaboration. Of course, we can speak about it on and on, but I cannot occupy so much space and so much time right now. Thank you very much. Yes, we have this wonderful project, Children Go to Children, and they develop tourism routes. This is something unique. They are testing it themselves, and after that, the tour operators sell those tours which are already adopted and adapted for children, and they are made for and by children. Please come to us, business sheriffs. Look at how they are promoting their region. That's the way you do it.
Спасибо большое. Мы
Thank you.
следующего спикера. Так получилось.
Now the next speaker. So it's also online speaker, Mr. Zalushsky, Severstal.
Адаптация ESG повестки к
ESG agenda and modern reality. Good day, Vladimir. Good day, good day. Thank you for this chance to speak online together with you. I was planning to come to you. We have this meeting with top management, and unfortunately I couldn't do that. Thank you for this chance. I've been listening to all of you. I saw that Ufa is actually taking high places on the comfort of life, on ecology and everything. That is why this platform is very serious. You can really start and develop with it. That is why I'm really confident that we can do everything we're planning on. These interesting speeches reminded me of a book that I was reading, The Economy of Impressions. So we have been talking about it on, and I would like you to get inspired by it. A very good book. Severstal, a large industrial company. 50,000 people working there. Severstal, yeah, this is the Northern Steel. We are also associated with Northwest, especially with such city as Cherepovets. We have this large metallurgical plant there, and
этого города строим
We are building particular brands around this city, both the territory and the company. A week ago, we launched a very popular now, unique in Russia, Museum of Metallurgical Products, and Cherepovets is located on Rybinsk
от
Preserve and 50 kilometers from Moscow and Petersburg, and together with the government we are developing the shoreline for the cruise ships to stop in our city, and I hope that there will be a great touristic potential for this location. It has a great history indeed. The city in Vologda region, and of course Vologda butter, Vologda ice cream have become national brands as they are. That is why we have this wonderful experience. And it will be my pleasure to share it. You will have all the contact details. And I would like to highlight that another asset in Belgorod, Yakovlevsky Bog, has participated in the Russian accelerator on industrial tourism, which is closed open industry. If you have a company which is interested in developing the region from the point of view of industrial tourism, there is this federal opportunity. I would recommend you to review it as well. We have been talking about brands on and on, about GEOBRANDs. We live in the world of brands, and this is not a surprise. And of course, we are used to Mercedes and Vologda butter being brands. Sometimes we don't really understand that, let's say, Plos and Suzdal are brand cities, just like Ufa and Perm. And on, we're talking about the treatment of the city, the way it's viewed. Communicators love this wonderful phrase. Perception is the reality. Basically, what people think is the reality. So we are working with perceptions. Of course, sometimes they are not exactly reflecting the reality, but this perception is the basis, the foundation to create the brand. And we do understand the laws of marketing. We do understand what the trademark is, which becomes a brand. And we understand its value. We understand what brand is. You can sell it. Its price might drop or it might rise up. But once again, the brand of the city, or the brand of notions I'm going to talk about, let's say digital transformation or sustainable development, what we call ESG, very fashionable to call it like that. These are brands as well, and I suggest we think about the brands as assets of the companies. One of the examples, we had the Forbes rating, recent one, the best employers of Russia, and of course they would speak about the social package, the conditions of labor, the reputation of the company, etc. And lots of things were said about ESG and social responsibility, and the information was taken from the open source. But what does it mean to get into the rating? We are very high in the field of gold, and it means that attracting talents in the companies, and right now we'll fight for it even more, it's going to be easier. ESG together with HR brand. So once again, we're using the brand word. So these are the assets as well. And in communications, I'm really glad that I can see Lilia, a good friend of mine, so an expert.
измеряет коммуникации.
So she's measuring communications with a ruler. And basically communication becomes a science thanks to her. I hope that one day we will become just like politology and everything. And there is this share of voice notion. So it's about the social media, about the
Вот, например, предположим, что
mass media, social media, it's everything. Let's say metallurgists, 1,000 articles about metallurgists per month, and Severstat has a particular share in it, so it's about 20%, whether it's big or not. So it all depends on the shares of our competitors, but it is considered that the higher your share, the more you are known, the more often you sell your products, the better reputation is. So on one hand, it is the critique, so the person who is shouting most is most successful. But once again, what you shout about has to be proven, and it has to go to the target audience. And another thing, what actually distinguishes strong brands and the weak ones. They have to be very straight associations, not something vague. Let people know 2 or 3 very bright and important items and events in your history compared to dozens of parameters which are not known to them. And speaking about the surveys, once again, we're talking about the perception. Reputation. We have a reputation as socially responsible business. We are a developed company, and it actually is reflected in real projects, and it's reflected in systemic work in creating the good reputation. Let me speak about a little algorithm. 7 steps of launching branding of any field of development of our company. Speaking about the sustainable development, I hope that is going to be useful for creation of brands, trade brands, and areas and regions. First of all, we need to understand the context and our location in it. We as a company have to understand what we are already doing in the area of ESG. And we are forming the projects, and we are looking at the projects we have to implement tomorrow, because the communicational campaign will be linked to it. Then we are creating the list of future projects together with focus groups based on the citizens of the cities, clients, and regulators. I think we'll speak about evaluation and assessment a lot. Once again, focus groups, constant contact with the target audience, what they like, what they consider to be relevant. This is most important. Once again, this is not a new topic. This is social investments. In year 2021, we invested 3.3 billion rubles in different cities of Russia. So once again, we understand what the context is, we understand what the projects are. Then practices, step number 2, branding and communication, when we're talking about ESG, how the competitors are treating it, other large companies. In your case, speaking about territories, this is the creation of map, the projects, positioning of other regions of Russia or maybe the world. A wonderful example of Europe, once again, as was said before. Step number 3, audience and its expectations. We take a look at the logic of it, so how we are treated by the stakeholders here and now, what expectations are, and where we are going, where we want to be, and what is the desired state. For example, when we're working with our employees, that the corporate volunteering has to be on another level. People want to work together. They want to support projects. For example, I help dog shelters. Some of ours are collecting garbage and distributing it. It has to be on the corporate level. And when we're talking about volunteering and ecological volunteering, this is a great potential for regions in particular. Step number 4, opportunities and territories. Informational area is not empty. There are already companies there, they have news there, and there are events. And every company is capturing particular informational territory. In our case, we're talking about the competitor, which is talking about ecologic nature, eco-nature of their production. Some speak about social things, some speak about the safety and security of their labor. By checking it out, you will create the map of your competitors. Step number 5, ambitions and selection of territory. You have the map, you understand your competitors, you understand what are the realistic projects which are going to help you to occupy a particular territory. And then, as soon as you have it, you will find what you were looking for. Step number 6, priorities. You choose the brightest, the biggest, the wonderful, unique projects which can be your locomotives in this promotion. Let me have another example. One Swiss metallurgical company has a unique hydrogen technologies, and metallurgy is using hydrogen. This company is doing a lot in the social sphere in particular and other environmental matters, but they decided to position themselves using the hydrogen. If you want to know about the future of metallurgy, you will have a very good association with this Swiss company. This is straight positioning. In our case, we created our mission, our territory, as sustainable metallurgy of future. What does it actually mean? It means that together with our partners, we are planning to improve the situation in environmental area of our region and other regions. And our locomotives are the projects on reducing CO2 emissions and in social area, complex renovation of Cherepovets city. and we are going to invest 1.5 billion rubles together with the Moscow urban team, and I will speak about it a little bit later, I guess. And the final stage is the concept of communication. This is your plan, considering your key projects which you selected, and once again, what was said before, development of visual identity of your brand is most important. You have to use it in the visual ad, in the merchandise,
в целом в наружной рекламе.
and all billboards and everything have to use all those things. These are 7 steps which are pretty universal, they are versatile. I hope they're going to be useful. Thank you very much for inviting me. It is very hard to stop Vladimir's. I know one of them who is heading our country. But once again, thank you very much for your presentation. Many useful things. I actually took some notes in my phone, so we can read through The Economy of Impressions, this book, and what people think is the reality. This is something I wrote down as well. Thank you very much, Vladimir. This was a wonderful speech indeed. Thank you. We have another speaker. We're going to be delayed during the coffee break, and the next session is going to be delayed as well. But I just have to give floor to Maria Shilina. I just went on the internet and I saw the famous scientists of Russia. Marita, I give floor to you. Good day. Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope I'm going to be very useful, because this is the most important thing when we're talking about any project linked to promotion, and GEOBRAND is a particular case. The key thing is the internal target audience, and I would like to highlight this once again, just in short, on main items. It is very comfortable to do forecasts, of course, especially when we're talking about digital situations and stories, because it means that there is a chance to look into the future. But in any case, tomorrow, the day of tomorrow. Could you please help us with this, with the clicker? Yeah, once again. The agenda, which we'll go through, this is basically the structure, starting with the key points, which are noticeable internally when we're talking about the agenda, as well as globally when we are regarding it as well. Yesterday, Mr. Lavrov, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation, formulated the new challenges and agendas. And today, we always link our agendas with SCO, with Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And today, we're talking about the address to the deputies and officials. And of course, the new normality, which began in February, has drastically reconfigured all those situations of development, all those paradigms of development of cities and countries. We are not thinking about what smart city is, the cyberville or whatever, so there is no definition whatsoever. But once again, we are saying that thanks to the digital economy technologies, the AI, the city is becoming a service, state is becoming a service, and we, each of us, being the citizen and the citizen of cities and citizen of country, and I remind you that people are going to live in cities, whether they want it or not. This is the trend, and Ms. Chernova, as a representative of Moscow, spoke about it as well. And it's quite obvious that we are becoming participants and main key players of this whole situation linked to the notion of digital cities. And reconfiguration means that our key criterion, especially when we're talking about obscurity and ambiguity, is the criterion of happiness. And Ministry of many developed countries and many Asian countries, which we are accentuating once again, are orienting themselves on giving us as citizens of cities and countries, this opportunity to participate and this opportunity to be happy.
Because nevertheless, no matter what we achieve, it is very important. In the context of G20s, there was a research very long in Indonesia, and we researched as town and the experience of digital cities in Asia, and it is obvious that it is another technological level. It is another story which linked to big technology investments. For example, Singapore, which with the head of linguancy, He has this maquettes models of digital towns, and everything is followed. And we have also in our Ministry of Urgent Situations some investments in these digital models of towns. It's obvious that it is another story, and today we are talking about that the questions are more than the answers on them. And artificial intelligence as a key technology of software for the town also can be our advance and our development. The journey of artificial intelligence to the happiness, which is in Russian very strange, but Russian specialists today showed that in development of the city, the artificial intelligence can be our hydrogen to development. There is a possibility for geo-branding because nowadays the Republic of Bashkortostan, as it is already been said, we saw even the video about where the key topic is the Republic is a territory of progress, of the future. It is a technical decisions which we need. In Russia, these technologies are being developed, and we have some plans that in some few years the rate of city citizens will grow till 20 or 30%. But now I just want to show risks of these cyber systems, but not just in particular. From the informational point of view, here we have the base of it. In 90% of the city, the towns don't have such strategies. As example, I want to give the platform Active Citizen. We can active amount of people which cooperate with government of the city. No matter these cities are millions. We can see the technology which linked to UFA, which are being uploading just now. We have this lights, traffic lights. But the key problem is that before COVID time, we had special decathlons, which were connected to development of technologies. And in that competition, crew win that suggested the system of smart traffic lights as investment in our country. But it was before that when in Massachusetts University there was a project of cities without traffic lights. So it is the option which should be grown over. And I want to look through details. I want to talk about index comparing with European countries and with Asian countries. And other cities are in these indexes. And the first topic linked to the technology is being operated long ago, but almost every eastern city is developing inclusively. It is the next stage that the city should be happiness for every citizen. Every resident should see the capital as a place for welfare, not just because we have this trendy phrase SG, just because it is a modern social country. And the next thing should be paid attention. It is Lila already mentioned. The city governance is the key in this situation, because on the first stage they should process these operations with artificial intelligence. And this orientation on human, and it means including the human in this process. So here we have a video. This project already exists in Moscow, and but I want to show you the project from Germany. It was before sanctions. It shows that the simple problem, which has solutions connected with artificial intelligence, with involving target audience. And here we can see the strict solution. This project was organized by a business company and the brand which called Mashinki Smart, Car Smart, and hashtag why we are living. It is crucial.
Your head? Well, I'll be shaking my ass, cause I'm born to dance. I wanna shake it, shake it, shake it, girl. Do you wanna shake it? I wanna shake it, shake it, shake it.
We can connect also. We can join to this. Yes, happiness is everything for us. Thank you very much, Marina. It is very difficult to perform, I know. So what? Since we didn't know, but I motivate you to watch this video in the net. It is difficult to perform when other colleagues fulfill the time, and it's difficult to conjunct everything in 5 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation.